the rec room, the cards and couches.
True.
And showers.
True, you got to get showers.
No
yeah,
curtains,
that's better than some teams.
Some better than, yeah.
Well, we're underway already. Immediately into the pistol rounds. With Complexity starting out on the T side, they've gone for 2 players with utility. Brownhall's not all the way there yet, but looking at least in that direction. So double smoke down potentially from through the window and down toward the ramp to cut off Z connector, and then a fast plant would be what I would expect at least, but we'll see what Slemmy decides based on his positioning in the offsite.
Yeah, it's a very heavy Ivy stack from Team 1 to start this off, and they realize exactly what's happening. And they still have that smoking kit, so keep that in mind, as Complexity will just get shut down already to start this one off.
Did Slemmy throw the deep smoke? I think he did.
Yeah.
He threw the deep smoke through Z connector. That's pretty cool because he was actually the offsite player, which then added the second smoke deep. They didn't go for the fast bomb plant though, however, and it's going to cost them because Trick gets back in to find Slemmy late, and 1-0 for Team 1. Lack of bomb plant, and the second smoke I think probably was looked misthrown to me behind the 3 trade, not really covering any particular angle.
Now let's hope we don't have flashbacks to where Team 1 opened up on Nuke with pistol, only to fall short in the next few rounds. I think a clean start will make this game even more competitive. So I'm excited to see how this evolves. As Complexity will go for the typical upgraded pistols. I think you'll always see Def, if he can afford it, going to the Scout and Armor. As Team 1 will send 2 towards B. And it's a pretty basic setup. 1 back green, 1 Ivy, 1 bomb site A. It's a pretty safe default that most teams pull out if they're not doing any kind of aggression on the CT side, although they have pushed upper brown, even through their own smoke. And who else is going to open it up other than Ye and Slemmy with Deagles? And it started already. I mentioned they needed a clean start, and this is not how they'd like to start this one off at all.
Slemmy, meanwhile, getting back out from Pop Dog. Ye's got the shot on Maluk. Again, you're right. This is falling apart. Rather catastrophically. No coverage toward the choke points. Trick's going to have to basically try and go very individual to pull this back. Good find on the first angle, but has to address the fact that they've lost toward Ivy. No control from IDK to support. Unfortunately, he's a little bit late in rotation, and that left no room for Trick to wiggle. At least drops bomb. That'll buy him some space, but Peter's picked up at UMP, and he's already shoulder peeked, confirms that IDK is there. That's going to force him off the angle. Molotov as well will allow Ye to get to the bomb. Thankfully, I thought IDK was going to go for a rather audacious flank. He sticks with the same position. No kit, at least not in his possession. And Peter's going to play as passive as he dare. 100 HP, he should trade off Ye's information and position, who's gotten 2 kills, by the way, Ye on this Deagle, and he may get another because IDK is not even considering the angle.
Oh, is he going to turn around in time? Oh, and DK decides to consider it last moment. Peter's playing the long game, and he actually goes top blue. Now Peter is in a world of hurt, right, because he can't fight.
This is smart, though, because he knows he can't fight with the UMP from that range. He knows that he also didn't get what he wanted from the trade off of Ye, so he stays the long game, plays the ladder as coverage, and that actually, I'll give him credit, a second great clutch we saw at the end of the last game from Peter, playing it as he should when the bomb's down.
Very smart. And as you mentioned, that's that experience starting to show through on this roster. As perhaps if that Team 1 member stayed top train, tried to isolate him. But it's crazy. You don't think of Heaven as a spot that has a lot to hide, but in 1v1 situations, you can abuse that ladder, you can abuse the wall. And we saw it on prime display there as Team 1 wanted to start this one off with a clean slate. They wanted the 3-0. And all of a sudden, they're back to forcing with 2 upgraded scouts. There's some pistols mixed in. And Complexity look back into the racing seat, if you will.
Driving seat?
Driving seat, racing seat. Some seat with a steering wheel and controlling the pace of the pedal.
Cockpit?
Sure.
That's Henry G's favorite position.
Somehow I don't doubt it.
Not even here. Still making fun of him, of course. Defenseless Henry. Mask out the windows. Slemdogger. I think that's what, is that Moses that calls him Slemdogger?
I believe so. I think so. Slemmy hasn't had any luck with people lately, but hopefully that changes on Complexity. I think so. So it looks like they're going to go for an interesting, some smokes from ladder as well as from T-Con.
Smoke covers Z. Single smoke only. Second one's not thrown. Trick playing forward behind the E-Box has the CZ75, the most overpowered gun in the game currently based on the meta. His Def, however, will successfully take him back with the A1S. Keep in mind we're seeing the A1S in this game as well. It's kind of gone out of fashion. As Def takes down Maluk, it's just IDK. And I asked, it's Kaik. Kaik. I think you have to say it Kaik. There's an infliction on the I.
Kaik.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I don't speak Portuguese, but that's what I was told. As he sits in a 1 versus 4. Still with the CZ, has armor, and I think that armor might just be valuable at this point in time because he's going to head well and truly over toward his own spawn.
Holding on to the CZ is his dual mission. Solo mission, only mission. It's his life right now. This Complexity will get out with all the rifles. A little bit of utility, actually, they didn't have to use. So this is going to be 2-1 as Team 1. Not only are being stuck on one, their economy's kind of stuck in first gear. I'm going to make as many car references as I can and try to be as accurate as I can.
Yeah, I'll call you out.
You
on
can
all the
correct
ones
me.
You are not. That's fine. That's what I'm here. Well, not actually why I'm here, but that's, we'll pretend that's why I'm here.
Okay. We can do that. You ever have a chance to drive on the Autobahn, by the way? Random question.
Yep, I did.
Okay.
It was good.
Don't know why that
I've done it
in my
many
head.
times, actually, because we were in Cologne. Every time I go to Nürburgring, I have to drive it.
Okay.
So I would head down. And then I did it the first time on the way to Crefeld for Ace of Predator Masters. Good flashes.
Yep.
Very aggressive and assertive from the CTs to try and stack the outer yard, but not just sit and wait for crossfires. They take the fight. Maluk actually benefits by getting an M4 off of death. Shots, however, to compensate based on position not covered if they go aggressive toward A main. That gives a gap toward Ivy, and as such, they walk down. Trick pulls one back, and it's still a 2 versus 2, but guns now sit in the favor of Complexity as they were at the start of the round. Just realized that there was one down at Sandwich, and Kaik actually managing to pull back Slemmy. Puts pressure on Peter, who once again has to clutch things back. This was a round that fell apart very quickly by a rather bold, but I'll give it credit, call from Team 1.
Peter's going to start by holding the flank. He has a nade and a flash. When it comes down to timing, will win the first against Trick. And it's just Kaik. What can this man do? As he's going to push into sight. No utility. Peter's got that nade, and it may even just be the money one. No, down to 29. Flash behind it. Peter's just going to shoulder peek the bomb. He's going to play it so smart. No reason to overcommit. No reason to overswing. And this one should be in Peter's bag, almost. As Kaik, yeah, it just a moment of time. Peter was playing that so safe. He didn't even hesitate. He just simply was just going to play that game all day long.
Kaik actually played that smart by getting him behind the train to try and play the headshot angle and force Peter out, because he knows Peter's been playing the time. But once again, Peter now, I think, 3 clutches for him overall. And he's been successful in every time that he's been in that situation.
None with ops.
That's a good point, actually.
Which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, I think actually his impact with the op was rather non-existent on Nuke in particular, so we'll see if that changes when they get to the CT side, particular train. Lots of availability on T side, but if it's not there on the CT side of train, then it really wasn't there at all.
Well, nice safe default from Complexity. Typical double up Ivy, 1 hold T-Con, 2 upper Brown. I mean, if it can net you 2 kills like that from Ye as they try to push into T-Con, I imagine a flash was followed up with it. As IDK tries to do something for Team 1, and you're putting them in such a rough spot when you lose 2 players on train right off the beginning, and someone has to make a play, and perhaps it's Kaik in 1v5, but even this man who's been playing well is so much to ask.
And 2 kills for Kaik, and immediately he grabs an AK. I think he's up to about 7 kills total now, so good start for him individually, but another round that's going to go Complexity's way. Late plant for Peter. Still on the op this time. And obviously a save. No hunting either, so discipline from Complexity to try and build up their utility early on. Right call. Has to be, I mean, yeah, perfect look at the money. Good time to do so.
It's going to be certainly difficult for Team 1.
Well, they're only going to get $1,400 as well, so even if they hunt, it's worth it. This is kind of like going back to Threat's mentality of chasing out saved weapons. It's worth it to let them save the 1 AK because they're not going to be able to buy around it anyway, and if they're tempted to try and bring out armors and pistols, it's just going to diminish their economy going forward. And there's actually the risk and reward situation. There's more risk in losing guns themselves as they want to try and build their economy. So it's, yeah, just let them keep the gun. Not a big deal. And they'll go 4-1 for it. And now they get a chance, especially if they win this round rather cleanly, it'll build their economy to where they need to be.
Certainly. Playing the long game. A straight track. As Team 1 will buy something to give themselves a chance. As you call it, the most overpowered gun in the game based on meta.
So they've actually have essentially forced with pistols around this AK. And look, it's one of those things I say it and then it fails and then everyone's like, oh, that's why they did it. Well, it's a risk. If it works, great, but it's a risk and it is going to diminish it. They actually catch Ye off with a good flash. A push from the AK, but now they've identified exactly where that's playing on the map and they'll address it accordingly. Force him off the angle as well with good utility. It needs specifically, but Ye's got to be careful. Down to 15.
I'm very surprised Complexity, as soon as they spot that AK, don't go for a quick play down ladder or something. I suppose they're assuming if the AK's here, the pistols must be stacked on A, which is a fair thought.
That's the right thought. Decent read. Slemmy with the first smoke, deep side hitch, covers off Ivy, so no aggression toward Ivy. Compensatory push, though, from Maluk. He'll discover that there's no one out in that position, and waltzing into B, they should get an early enough information to rotate. Kaik, I think, just spots them as Ye gets above. Can't find the angle, though. The AK actually finds the first kill, and Ye's got to be careful on 15, because if he sits above, the rotations from Z Connector on the pistols would have been enough to take him down, but it's not sufficient. And Peter, good positioning, catches out. Michael rotating around.
And now with Ye's position, this round is surely done. Team One would love to find Ye. Def is going to support him. Def's kind of getting out-peaked here and out-jiggled, and that's 2 for Trick. As now the bomb's ticking down. I think Team One just wants to drop some guns here. They know they didn't put too much into this, so the more guns they get out of Complexity's hands, the better. Peter, the well-timed peek, will get shut down from a Luke. And you know what? They drop everyone from Complexity. They may drop the round. Getting out with an op and an AK and hurting Complexity in that way for what they had. It's not so shabs.
Not so shabs.
Not so shabs.
Yeah, I mean, they got the guns down, and I just finished saying they needed to win that round cleanly. The money looks fantastic when we just looked at it there, but that's pre-buy. So they'll obviously go into another situation where they're down around 2K mark. Lose around 1,400, they're not going to be at a full buy position, at least not with utility. So unfortunately, they've missed a massive opportunity to try and essentially get the free kick. They still have the control of the game at the 5-1 scoreline. Team One's going to go double op, by the way. So if you questioned how Maluk was going to play and how aggressive he was going to be, we're going to find out right now. Kaik as well playing with the second op in B, where he has been playing. If he can get... what's his spawn? I can't see it. Can you flip?
Let's take a look at the map.
He does.
Yeah.
So he's got corner spawn.
I wonder if that actually impacts, like, if they wanted to go for the... I'm assuming it does.
Well, they carried it over, so yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you're very, very... Actually, I take that back, actually. Excuse me. So Kaik actually did buy it, so there's a chance that he did strictly do so based on spawn, because he has the perfect spawn to go for the corner. And it's the most powerful position with the op if you can get there. Okay, fair enough. So it didn't influence anything.
Looks like makes us look like jerks, doesn't it?
Yep.
Damn.
It was a good thought. That's what I would have done if I had that spawn. I would have been running to that corner. I mean, he went there with the AK last round, though, which perhaps maybe in his own head he's overthinking it a bit, thinking, well, if I was there last time, then they might expect it. Pre-molly it. They'll be at least set and ready for the peak, but with an op, I think it's still so powerful. Run boost going to happen out toward Ivy. Beta show, no, that's not how you run boost. Somehow Android's still alive.
Jeez. Didn't tie his shoes this morning.
Yeah, that didn't work out. Baited the shot, I suppose, but that's going to be the end of him. The nade. Oh, did that not?
That must have clipped the wall or something.
Yeah, I don't know how that didn't. I would have liked to have seen that follow through. I would have thought that just takes him down immediately.
That's actually a second nade that come through. Yeah, that
landed.
2 nades.
How does that?
And he goes from 11 to 6.
HP from 23. Like, that must have been... Did the guardrail... I don't know. I'd love to see how that didn't kill him. I would have thought that nade was an instant death.
No shrapnel and nades. Even a molly now to try to flush him out because they know that he has to be so low. As 45 seconds on the clock, Complexity haven't really gained that much of the map. They haven't taken that much of a piece of pie. I mean, they do have 3 players Ivy. Team One are completely aware that's playing Old Hell, Bomb Site, and pushed up red. But they have actually neglected watching Ivy now. It's all on Kaik, and he's rotated off. This is waltzing in like nothing, like they own the place as Complexity.
Good shot, Slemmy. Good control of the back lines. Maluk's found 2 with the AWP, and now we're starting to see the aggression pay off because on Train he's got the availability to do so, but yeah, with an immediate shot on the AK. It was inevitable at some point in time. Kaik is going to try and get in behind them with the op. Finds the first shot as well on Def, not set and ready. Pulls it back to an immediate 2 versus 2 in the post plant. Missed shot. Android low, gets damage in, but on an op, Kaik, even with 7, will be in a good position. Better still, IDK. Good flank. He was well timed on his lurks on nuke, as good as he could be considering the situations they found themselves in. That's
did
unfortunate.
He just get left hanging?
Man. I think it. Okay, he's not. I was gonna say I think he's defusing, but he's actually not. That was just straight up left hanging.
I think he's feeling it too. Oh, will he get it?
Come on. Come on.
Redemption. He's
Come
asking
on.
for it.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Okay, good. That makes me feel a lot better. Okay, good. Saved. And they get a second round, and they carry over double op. So the expensive part is out of the equation for this buy. But certainly still around thin ice when it comes to how they want to approach this round.
Nice one, the player to watch. 5-2. And this goes back to exactly what we said. 5-1 against the AK and Pistols. They needed to win it cleanly. They would have a round in hand. They're immediately back to Pistols as a result of it.
I found an M4 in spawn that they left.
Oh, yeah.
So that's some wasted
doing
cash.
there? That's a bit peculiar.
Especially consider where they are right now. That's money laying on the floor.
I think that was...
Someone must have misclicked.
No,
I don't know.
let me see Maluk's money real quick. No, it wasn't him. I thought maybe they brought out a second op without picking up the last one. Yeah, that's
odd.
I didn't see that. Good spot by you.
Huh.
That's not what you want to do, especially
No.
when you've only got
No.
your second round, then you're whittling down complexity. You want to build up yours as best as possible. That goes without saying, but that's... Yeah, I didn't catch that. Android, Deagle wants to enter from the upper position at outer, or rather, excuse me, at inner. Meanwhile, at outer, Ye will start off through smoke at A main. Molotov down at Sandwich, so he won't be able to push too far. But still, when he does start to push, Michael's immediately ready, and Android will try and control the situation with a bomb plant on B. Easier to plant on B in these situations, but he needs to hold off any aggression from the CTs and buy space, and therefore time away from the bomb. Good first shot, immediately traded back, and unfortunately, his teammates have perished in the process. It means we go 3 rounds now for Team 1.
That seemed like a very easy bomb plant for them. Lost
Yeah,
a couple players on the way down, of course, but
It's a bomb plant that actually is going to benefit them significantly, going on to only a second round loss bonus as well. So you could argue that Team 1 could have played more aggressively, but against Pistols, B is quite commonly planted. It's much easier to get into the B site for, I think anyone who's played the map even once realizes that, because it's just so much closer to the entry point.
I love Train personally.
It's grown on me. When they first brought back in this iteration, I guess it's been almost 2 years, maybe even longer than that at this point in time. I think it was at Cluj they first announced to the players privately in a meeting with Valve that it was coming back. And I think it was not long after that it was brought back into the unofficial pool. I didn't really love it, but it's definitely, from an aesthetic point of view, was the first of the maps that got redone. There's the Molotov we were talking about with the second op. So that's, I think, why he didn't want to go to that corner the first time. He knew that they would be checking it. Double op on
That's
B
interesting, isn't it?
specifically as well, with a crossfire for aggression. So even though Kaik was pushed off the angle, Luke was ready. But yeah, aesthetically, it cleaned things up, but I actually like the way that it plays now, and there is a lot of, I guess, emphasis on smoke execution outer, and it was actually the French team that first highlighted that. Another good peek, a late peek again from IDK, getting out from A main, from Z Connector. As it'll hold Michael back toward Ivy. Bomb plant already in. Def gets aggressive above the bomb train, but he's spotted. IDK spots him inside of the smoke, just barely takes him down with the A1S. Leaves us 3 versus 3. This could be the change in all of it, though, because Peter directly in front of Maluk will have no idea, and he's even going to go for it. Punishment completion with the knife. Ye gets found in Maluk's great positioning. Is able to immediately take the round away.
A shank in your back may hurt you later on in life. And we'll see if that's going to be true. It's my saying. We'll see if it's going to come back and bite Complexity, because they saved up. I mean, that's 3 rounds in a row with bomb plant, so that's 3-round loss plus $800 extra every round. So their economy is actually not as low as you would think it would be, but they still have to go for one of these half buys. Team 1 lately have been doing a nice job of controlling Complexity's economy.
I think that they got
Still more to go, isn't there?
They went for the immediate defuse. They actually bought an op. I think Maluk bought the op to drop. So that means, because he spent 47.50 exactly, but he has, I'd have to see. I didn't see exactly, because I was going to say they didn't get toward the second op, and again, they've not done the best in terms of managing economy long term. Michael pushed out this time. Good smoke. It's going to hold them off. I think they're going to boost behind. No, I thought he was going to try to. Would have been a clever way of doing so, but a flash through. Instead, they might actually catch Michael. Oh, he just gets behind the server in time. Everyone completely blinded up, though. Good shot from Def. Def, good aggression. Knew to check the corner, and then as he gets Molotov off, has to back away. It's been compensated for, however. Those IDK and Trick find immediate kills, on the guns. Yay,
Jeez.
What a shot on entry.
This guy's so deadly with his Deagle. As it will be traded. Peter's desperately trying to use his spam his E button to grab the op, and as soon as he gets it, IDK An unexpected push as he was back CT stairs, pushes up, catches him, trying to fight in towards the site. As that bomb was down at A site that entire time while they're fighting Ivy. And now the fully bought up, fully geared Complexity will come back to this round. The double op from Team 1, honestly, it's been kind of quiet for me. I don't think either of these ops have really found too much yet. I mean,
no, I mean the run with the retake, Maluk did a good job of getting position, but the double op setup inside of B actually benefited them there because they were able to get so much information early on. But you're right, it's not like we've seen one round where they've done a dominant and shut down. Okay, here we go. This is what I was going to call out. Going solo Ivy, no flash through. He gets the angle. I mean,
what can
he definitely
say?
wants to be Guardian in Kenny S, I'll tell you that much.
He's watched some demos. Might work out, actually, in the end. Vandroid's not careful. He's going to flash to try to bait a peek? This man's insane.
Wow. Maluk, I'll give you credit, man. Gets the angle and he backs away. It's exactly what he should do. He's going to be in position toward Ivy to catch off the lane. Oh, where is he? He's going to be found. Ye gets this kill, surely. Just spots him above, jumps off, makes sure he lines it up. In fact, his teammate Def took down the kill behind that he was also spotting out, sussing the information as Def tries to find further damage. Kaik, meanwhile, on the train itself. Bomb train tries to get a quick scope on top of it, but he's left in the open and immediately taken down by Def.
6-5, not bad for Complexity. You mentioned on Nuke, and it was such a good point, as teams that perhaps aren't so structured or are lacking some kind of communication, their CT sides are better than their T sides. So that's perhaps needs to come into some truth here for Team 1.
Little Windows noise.
Yeah, I
for
heard that
everyone.
as well. I was like, did I do those?
Little Windows update.
Yeah.
Please restart your computer for the next 8 hours.
This won't take long. We promise.
Yeah, we're installing a new version of Spell Checker. It's fine.
League gonna find the first. Def is giving chase. He's not stopping. Through the smoke and everything. Now, as Slemmy trades his life out towards outer yard, I thought it would keep these players from Team 1 out towards A, but they have a really good read on the situation.
IDK with an additional Molotov to hold off, boost above to try and get nades in. It's a desperate position to play. Give Peter an angle. Very, very situational one and done position, but hey, if it works, then why not? You get it for free.
Team 1 have been very passive. I think they have a player Heaven, 1Z, and 2B. I guess that's the power of the double ops that allows you to go for setups like this, right? Because you don't need anyone close up T-Conner and ladder.
No, yeah, you can play more passive with the double, especially if, like we'd say, if it's so dynamic outside, you've got a second one that's basically playing as an anchor, which is typically what we see toward B.
Is Peter gonna push down at some point? Complexity do, I mean, have 30 plus seconds, and they still have a smoke, a couple mollies to go for something. I think they're just trying to wait out Team 1 and see if maybe Team 1 will push towards Ivy, try to get some info and get some lucky timing on it. They are just gonna go. Full blind as the Operas are going to cross in towards site. Android gets caught, and it is just the Team 1 show as Complexity try to wait down the clock, and Team 1 have none of it.
Decent. CT halves. I mean, you say we haven't seen much from this CT-sided double-op setup, but since they've been running it, they've been pretty much unbeaten. Again, it's Complexity struggling to get bomb plants even in these losses, so even as they accumulate a full loss round bonus, which is now hit. Okay, excuse me, sorry, reset in the last round. So I was going to say even when they had that bonus, they weren't getting enough plants to justify buys, but now it's even worse. $1,400 only into the account this time by. Puts more emphasis with Deagle's brought up that they need to get a plant. They're going to go toward A main. It's not exactly the most promising position to bust out of. Peter, meanwhile, evaluating over toward B with a Glock. Has Slemmy with him.
I do stand corrected. The ops are doing a nice job because it allows the riflers to play more passive. But it's really been IDK and Trick standing up, I feel, lately.
If they want to go, okay, Ye is literally their only play in this.
What?
Oh, Deagle. A little bit of a spread on his crosshair, but Trick gets him back. I was going to say he's the only play because no smokes. If they want to try and get a plant outside, they need space. They nearly got Def in a gifted position as well, surprisingly, but he can't capitalize.
Slemmy finds himself in a very similar position.
The last round I saw that went like this was DreamHack Montreal when Automatic walked out with a Deagle and no one was watching. That looked similar, or at least showed similar signs of it early on, but Team 1 hold on and take the lead, actually. 7-6. First round they've lead or advantage they've had in both maps aside from winning the opening pistol.
Man, that's even with the pistol going sour right away and Complexity winning 5 in a row. IDK and Kalik stepping up right now when they need him. Keep in mind, this is Complexity's pick, heck. For all I know, we might just trade maps.
Yep. I mean, Cobblestone's a good middle ground, as we
Yeah.
said, for obvious reasons earlier on. Aggressive from Def. I want to see more Complexity to try and force out the outer yard with utility now that they have guns. I'll give credit to Team 1 as well. When Malik last time pushed out toward long, was a gun round, got the angle, found the shot, and fell back. That gave them an immediate advantage. So this time, Complexity is going to try and compensate by putting more pressure on Ivy early. And no op there to cover it this time. So even though they jump across, no run boost this time. Wonder why. The M4 will at least recognize, but now be contained and held at bay.
And now with Ye being out of the round, kind of changes the dynamic as they're forced to make some kind of play earlier than they would like to towards Ivy. Popular boost, but it could catch a player off guard. But Michael realizing, you know what? We have a man advantage. He can afford to play back green. And they're not giving anything to Complexity, not even tossing him a tiny bone or nothing. Kalik may get caught out playing aggressive towards B with an op, but even right now, he's still pretty safe.
Peter trying everything. Using movement where he can find a chance to do so. Trick, however, gets the shot back on Def. Major contribution. In fact, down goes Ye in this round as well. That's both of the heavy hitters from Complexity. And watch the wraparound IDK late to the back hallway, but just them as a right side attack with no smokes down toward the end of the site. Again, utility the cause of problems for Complexity, not utilizing it correctly on takes. As soon as they get positioning, they're sitting in the open, crossfires established. And Team 1's passive CT side, I will say, is definitely tearing Complexity apart. They need to go back to the drawing board on this map to find execution. And it's been tough, too, because they lost utility with a reset mid-half.
I like the faith and the trust in each other for Team 1. It's critical to a team to trust your teammates, but I figured a team that didn't have as much strengths or has been together as for long or have played tier competition, they know we got the opening pick, and then they trust each other, hold each other's back, crossfire it up. They have full trust in the player back red to spot towards Ivy, and they're doing some nice dynamic setups and full trust in everyone to hit their shots, and that's great to see. And it helps when they are hitting their shots, of course. So 8-6, Complexity, I mean, they'll buy what they can. And this is a very limited final round buy, or final first half buy.
Obviously elected rather than going to SMGs for the utility, so what's the call going to be? That's quite a backflip from Peter. Kaik now holds the corner upper. He has all the information for the rotation. He, in fact, goes back down the hallway and finds the entrance at lower to take out Ye, and Slemmy last alive utility. Doesn't really matter when the kills go that way from the Brazilian side. Slemmy will try and compensate what he can. Grab the op if he can get around the corner cleanly. You can pull the op out now, Slemmy, in fact.
He'll hear you. And with the bomb being down behind a smoke on ramp, mollied off, even dipping his toes into the fire. As this surely should be a round that goes to Team 1.
Tries to use the smoke to fake that he's going out upper, but desperate to get down the ramp, pushed in now by utility by the Flames, grabs ball on the way by, but he's going to have to hit some pretty spectacular shots, and that's not going to happen. As Michael was in behind Spools, pops out, sitting in the open 9-6. Great recovery to the half from Team 1. As you say as well, they lost 5 rounds after, for the second straight map, getting eco'd on round 2.
And that's crazy to think. You win pistol, you don't even get the conversion. And yeah, as you said, to end with 9 is great. Complexity now going to get a chance on their CT side. I don't think they'll go for the double op, at least not as consistently as Team 1 did, based on what they've seen on Nuke and what I know about this team. But what I do know is Android will be playing inside. Normally he plays E-Box, and he just goes off towards the E-Box position. But they've recently done some shuffles, and I was talking to Warden, and he said they're feeling extremely comfortable now with their CT setups, and they feel less obligated to put up more numbers on their T side. So if that speaks anything, I suppose actions speak louder than words, so we'll see if that's going to stand true.
Ye has been the player to watch for Complexity in pistol rounds, even when they lose them. He's finding usually multi-frag, especially with the USPS. Pike out. Aggressive smoke down sandwich will allow the advance, but they know they're in that lane, so they're trying to fire in preemptively, but it's not worked out. Maluk finds the opening 2, in fact, as he gets Ye down. Def and Peter respond immediately. Def takes bomb away. They didn't go for the plant. They tried to battle for position. It may cost them as Def backs off. He wants to put distance between himself and the obvious position where Bomb is. He finds Trick in doing so. And Michael's desperate to run around. Shadow was spotted by Def, but I don't think he recognized him either way. Finds an additional angle. What a round from him. 4 kills. Very, very good as well to take Bomb and then immediately address the issue and adjust positioning.
Tiptoeing around all of Team 1 members as Def, big 4K. Ye got dropped immediately, and you think, well, maybe this round perhaps is over. Team 1 got 2 kills, and out of nowhere, they just wanted to fight towards back green. And Def jumped with his Royal Navy, just sailed around and popped some heads as it's 9-7. And Team 1 will go for what they can. Full trust in the Deagles on the T side. It looks like they're actually going to be running a bit of a set Ivy push with a flash coming out. I mean, nothing too spectacular. But Slemmy's in a spot where pistols can catch him out.
So Def wins it. Slemmy baited in as a result. Good bait and switch. Nearly finds Maluk. Complexity need to bring this to 9-9. Deagle shot lands. Puts Def down to 1 HP, but he still finds a further kill.
He's still fighting.
Why not?
Might as well.
3 HP for Trick, 28 from Maluk. Ooh, good response. Trick somehow turns around with 3 HP and finds EA. Let's not make this too costly. Complexity, I think that's still, you go back to round 6 in the first half, one of the things that cost them considerably was not managing economy correctly and, more importantly, keeping players alive.
I think losing 2 there is manageable, the grand scheme of things. Ideally you wouldn't lose that many, but 2 people is ideal. They can take that, and they're just going to go right into SMGs. I like this from Peter. It's something I've been seeing more and more, and I hope more people do it, not only just oppers, is where you win pistol, you win against the Force, but you lose a couple players. That player that died against the Force buy should just buy armor and SMG, no utility. I'm a big fan of it.
Android. He's looking upper. They're lower. This is going to be actually rather tenuous when they come around the corner because of Crossfire set. Okay, don't even lose 1 player. That's pretty good. Peter as well. You got to love it when your Opper gets 4 kills on an MP9.
How rich is he?
Yeah, pretty rich. 8K.
I don't even know if he's going to go for the op. He could just keep the MP9, to be fair. But yeah. He's no Fur, I guess.
True. True. Fur loves that weapon.
He really does. Never seen a gun that shoots marshmallows be so deadly.
Yeah, I call it the sewing machine.
Yeah. It's probably better than the marshmallow maker.
Yeah, I don't really like marshmallows. They're a little sweet for me.
A little sticky as well, right?
Yeah, they're good with s'mores. Peter's got an angle. No one's crossed over any main, and not only they'll confirm that because they've got Yay inside of it. Waiting to see if they'll wrap back around, so good controlled position, but they lose Android. And Brown Hall's completely occupied. Peter, surprisingly, is still considering Ivy, but they need to get a rotation toward B quickly. Def's going to play inside spools, knowing that he can't cover from above, and that puts them deep, but they haven't spotted him. Good find, as Kaik is able to turn around in time. Trick went down immediately. Slemmy, a good trade back. I think Def did about as much as he could in that position, by the way.
Yeah, he needed to find at least one, and he did. I was going to say, can Slemmy get out of Z without getting caught? And I guess my question was answered before I had a chance, but now it's just Peter in a 1v3. And if Slemmy was able to find an answer, but he was just, and that's so deadly, right? When you take the site, B side is T's, and you push up, it's so hard for rotations to come in. You almost need Def to get more than one there. But he really couldn't, and he had no rotations on point. Complexity were lacking in map control, and now Team 1 hit that double-digit mark. Ye hasn't come online this half whatsoever, at least yet, to say the least. One saving grace Complexity have is nice little bank they have. They invested in Bitcoin when it was nice and cheap. And look at it.
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin. I missed the boat on that. Silly me.
Many people did we not?
Yeah. It's fine.
Could have had 2 M3s.
Could have had 20 of them, really.
If you really wanted, I suppose.
Yeah.
A little Bugatti in the driveway.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the M3 might be a secondary choice with that much money. Might have, don't know, GT3, Zenvo, ST1.
So many options. as Ye will show us one. And it's the opening first blood. And IDK is just going to scurry back to safety, give some room for Trick to work with. He'll have that gray cloud in his face. And now he doesn't want to press the issue anymore. As Complexity actually going to find 2 clean kills. And that's bombed down. Can Def stay alive? No. He peeks into IDK. Now he can just get out of here. It's not starting to evolve into something odd.
Maluk, top blue. Smoke still down toward Ivy, won't have vision toward where Peter is actually going to go for a boost. So an interesting one to see inside of the site, but he's got to be slightly cognizant of the fact that he doesn't have as much vision toward A main as a result of it. So if they push the alleyway, he'll be a sitting duck, and they're going to back off smartly on the T side. A trade always favors T. They go 3-3. Ye low, cannot afford, I was going to say cannot afford to get aggressive, but apparently Trick completely unaware that his gun sticks out that far.
That's one of those weird situations, isn't it?
Well, it kind of kills what I was saying,
Yeah.
because I was going to say they can rotate around and actually take advantage of position and
Yeah.
really exploit the defense, but losing their one anchor inside of the site, they're both going to come out from Pop Dog, and he's already spotted as well as Maluk. If he doesn't hit this shot, it's round done. Yes, Lemmy's already gotten down IDK, he went around behind him, bomb dropped once more. Peter
Yeah,
just holds
'cause
the angle.
you're right. If Trick stays alive there, they can pretty much leave him there, maybe walk into B, give some time for him to find a frag, and on 4HP, yeah, he just shuts down all those dreams. And now Team One are in a spot where themselves are found scrounging for some kind of cash in the couch. Go buy some penny candies. And that's all they can afford right now. It's a couple pistols, a couple flashes, some Sour Patch Kids. That's about it. Closer game than what I honestly expected to be. From what I've seen from Complexity on Train before, Team One are keeping it competitive, which I really like to see. I'm a big fan of the underdogs.
Yeah, I mean, this is a much better performance than this morning, obviously. Getting double digits now in both games. And this one, I think, controlling it for much of the pace. That's changed now because money's gone. Ye just holds down Mouse 1 and gets 3 quick kills. Maluk, the third of which to go down, gets straight up back as Trick gets that kill, but it's not enough in itself. Android tagged up ever so slightly, watching the bottom ramp, knows they're still in the brown halls and has the angle to his advantage. Doesn't need to get up on top of the ledge. Just stay where he is. Don't get caught out for it. Patience will pay off. Good read. Spotted the flash coming out. Good finds. Should be able to close the rounds. And does. Now we find 11 for Complexity. They take the lead.
This is where still, well, 2-round loss, $1,900. Team One can't do much. I think they need to take, well, besides half buying here down to 1,400. That's Michael. They'll hit 2,400 loss, and yeah, it's gonna be rough for at least himself in this situation. But I think Team One, it's almost pause territory, right? You've gotten 1 rifle round under your belt, only to be immediately reset. Complexity, yes, you've kept their money on edge just by how semi-close to, at least how honest you're keeping them in these rounds. But outside of that, it's Complexity starting to find their own here.
Def getting more aggressive as well. All the way out toward Ivy. Cleared so much information. Pistol's going to rush toward B, not surprisingly, but because he's gone so far around toward spawn, he knows they're not in A main. The rotations are early. Good trade from IDK as he gets inside of the site. Trick's position could be beneficial. CZ up close, absolutely. Yeah, he had no chance, surprisingly. I know that sounds weird with the CZ, but the way the movement mechanics work, he runs around the corner, gets the pre-fire in. Win that every time. With the element of surprise. Peter, that's a misplay based on movement mechanics as he falls off the train rather than posts for the shot, and thankfully Def gets the kill in return. It pulls it back for Complexity, but a bomb plant in for Team One. And this now round 3 of a bonus will give them money to buy. Ample opportunity to go for an AWP as well.
Yeah, it makes up for Michael buying down to $1,400.
Do you think that Warden,
Yep.
who's behind Complexity, does Ye not look like he could be brothers with Warden?
We're going to need a face comparison.
I think it's entirely possible. I think if Ye had a beard, they'd look identical.
What if we got Warden to shave his beard? But that's probably not going to happen.
Probably not, yeah, probably not going to happen. You can ask Matt and see what he says.
He's much bigger than me. And he knows a lot more about Counter-Strike in comparison. That guy's been around forever, isn't he?
Forever and ever. Been a part of the Complexity organization forever and ever.
You know what? I can't believe he doesn't have a Complexity tattoo or something permanent to brand him as
How do
part
you
of
know
the
he doesn't?
organization.
Have you seen him naked? Maybe he does.
You know what? I haven't.
Me neither.
Maybe we can both ask.
So timeout called from Team 1, who have quite clearly given up the lead, only achieved 1 round so far on the T side, their T side.
This is the second time we've seen the opt-out from Maluk on the T side, correct?
Yep. I mean, his style is aggressive, so if you can pull it off, then it makes sense. He, in theory, could become a good T-sided opper. And that's the aggression we talk about. He nearly gets posted in time, but Ye hears it, reads it, and gets in position. It's pulled back as Mike gets one and gets down into a very, very integral position, in my opinion, for the Terrorists. Not only do you bypass Sandwich, one of the best defensive positions, but getting Hell, look how much room he can swing. What a shot in response as well to get Slummy, because that could have traded it back. This should be their round. If they wrap to the site, get the plant, they've got so much control.
Trick showing us that he still has some more plays up his own shoelace as he pulls them out when needed. As Team 1, that pause really went to work. You can see what they're going for. We're going to go for a quick play. Complexity haven't been mollying right off the get-go. Gives us a little bit of wiggle room. And that round would have been, I think, flawless. If Maluk hits that shot on Ye, I don't think Complexity get any kills there at all. And look how close to broken Complexity really have been throughout these rounds, even when they're winning. So now you can just see the trickle effect here.
What's off toward A main. Down immediately, getting aggressive with pistols. Team 1 can take the game back on this alone, based on the fact that they've now got economic control. Peter tries to surprise them getting up the ladder. Trick's ready for that as well. Break him down in 1 round after getting the bonus. And keep 5 alive in doing so. 12-12. Peter's gone aggressive. That's an early commitment to the op. Gets armor with it. No helmets, and I think most people who follow, just to make note, though, understand that against AKs and AWPs, the helmet really doesn't change anything.
But the kits may. Those can make a little bit of a difference. As Peter's going to be Deddy back green. Full trust in Mr. Slemmy to not get picked, but also hold Ivy in a confident position as the shoulder peek may lead to death. As we can see Slemmy just shoulder peeking it out. The flash will force Slemmy off. I think Peter's going to repeat this. And that's a flash. You hate to see it, and Slemmy commits to it.
Slemmy spotted, actually, in the first shoulder peek that we saw. But smartly didn't stick around too much for the AWP. And all of that, though, this is good positioning from Ye. Because if they were going to put aggression to Ivy, he controls A main. Means they can play more passive inside of the site for spots such as Ivy. And they can afford to get an early rotation over toward B. Because they'll have time to respond. The only thing they have to be cautious of is Pop Dog.
Looks like they're lining up some set smokes here.
And actually, as I say that, I realize Peter's positioned accordingly.
I'm a little... I think this is going to be a fake into towards B execution. Yeah, it is. And it's just going to be immediately noted from Ye. And both B players die. So now Team 1, this is probably like worst case situation when you go for a fake to B executions when your B players die. Peter, wow. I think those are both no scopes. I mean, that is just getting shut down to a T from Complexity.
Ye, I can't remember who they were playing in Montreal. I think they were playing against...
Luminosity, maybe?
No, I think it was Immortals even.
Okay.
And
the last time they played with KNG and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, that was the event that, Anyway, I can't remember if it was. Anyway, on train, Ye was super aggressive at getting in toward A main, and it was one of the only things Complexity had going for them in that game. And although they got absolutely battered, I think it was like a 16-3 scoreline. Ye had, I think, 15 kills in the first CT side at half because he was just so aggressive at holding that position. And it is, you can see the benefits of it. As soon as he gets in there, Peter, all he has to do is cover his backside from Pop Dog. They already know that Ivy has been covered off and they've relinquished any aggression, so they get the early rotation on B. It's actually really, really solid if he can continue to hold that position so successfully.
It's one of the things they haven't changed, I suppose, from that Immortals game. All the other
I think it was Immortals. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It might have been. It may have even been North. I can't remember. I'm sure someone could look up the stats.
Peter's about to have his hands full. They're going to peek him from 2 different levels somehow. He still has breath in his body, as that is a little bit of a misstep from Android. They beat him to the punch. As Michael get to sight, desperately trying to find Peter's on 22. And now they'll throw the utility. Bomb will go down. And Peter's in a world of hurt right now. He needs to make some kind of individual play. How does he make that work? He'll finally lose his head. But at least his teammates are in a fightable position.
Wow, good flash. So much time to peek for Slemmy. Wins against an op at long range. The Molotov burns one. IDK still in it. 13 HP, finds a kill, but he's traded back by Slemmy, which is then traded by Trick. Unfortunately, Def had better position, and Complexity find round 14.
Well, that is a solid 2-round loss with bomb plant. So, this is, do you let him get 15? You can drop some pistols. The answer is no. They're fully committing to this one. 2 players with 5,000. So they'll get the op out of Maluk. He's had some crazy moments with it, from going just all-out aggression when it won't pan out to just simply holding an angle. We've seen the spectrums of an opper. It's like a mix of Guardian and a little bit of Wardell flair in there.
Yeah, it's not always successful,
No.
but he's certainly trying it. I'll give it that.
They certainly need him to find some kind of opening pick into this one. They are very, very limited. They have a short piece of string to work with, and they're trying to make a knot. Doesn't always work.
Def top ticket. Good vision toward A main. Slemmy tap through the smoke for whatever reason. Why not? Give it a go.
Even with the pistol. One thing Slemmy's been doing nicely is not over-peeking and committing this.
Gonna swap sides as well with the isolation. So Hayes was still in position, so he can afford to do so. Doesn't want to be forced off an angle that allows them control of Hal. Maluk also watching it from the inside of A main. And they'll bring support to the position in the form of the op. Peter's there. So very passive front of the site on A from the CTs. And there's always going to be a gap. It's always going to be a compromise based on information. So the fact that there is so much room, Maluk's patience pays off, actually should indicate that Team 1 goes back to the front side of the site instead. Peter's adjusted accordingly. But with Trick Guardian Pop Dog, they could split. They could easily go 3-2 split.
Complexity have fully rotated off, and that player B is actually starting to push. So time's becoming Team 1's worst enemy here, as it's not bad to open it up, but Android is still alive, and now Peter's getting into it, as it's Trick, Kalik, and finally they'll find Android towards site. They need to plant this bomb. It looks like he's going to go towards B. I like this play, but he's teamless. Well, teammate-less, I should say, as it's Peter and Ye.
Ooh.
That was a risky plant.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't. Someone got it down.
Nearly.
Peter with the pistol. That's why. I thought he got held up because I think he tried to pre-hold the plant by holding mouse one of the bomb and was just barely to the edge of it. So I thought he was actually going to get caught by that. But bomb down will at least give money to Team 1. It was best case recovery. I actually did think on this pick, especially with Malik getting this shot, that they would just walk into the front of the site because they could have one player walk in immediately after, I think it was Michael, go down Ivy, hold the CTs back, and they would have room to wiggle. But good trades favored back by Complexity, and they find themselves on series point.
One thing that's been not irking me, but wondering, in situations like this where you sit around 3,500, you have one player at 4,200, I've always thought, why doesn't one player just bite the bullet, drop an AK so you get 2 AKs out, and you can still buy a pistol with utility instead of getting the Galil? I don't know.
I guess it depends on your comfort level with the weapon on the team, and I guess individual skill and who you. I mean, if I have a player like Simple and I can drop him an AK, done.
Yeah, you
have the AK all day long and go nuts with it. But and there are players like that. I mean, Kerrigan on FaZe now very much does that all the time. He will drop weapons to guys like Nico, to guys like obviously you've got Rain, who's been super consistent, but even having the ops potential on that team with Guardian and Olaf. I mean, he's got so many tools to work with, but it very much depends as well. And if you're an execution-based team, you'd rather have more utility out and maybe just try and run the Galils after you get space covered off and map control with smokes. So it's very dependent. And map as well. I mean, there's a lot of variables. Either way, Ye starts off well. Good double, but gets traded back. Trick with an equal exchange, getting over top of the bomb train itself. Well played. Well, unfortunately, though, amount to naught unless they can gather back the bomb. And as they go back around, Trick gets caught out by Android. Just one remaining. Kaik is going to try to pull back with the Galil. This is where the AK potential will be beneficial. Still finds a kill because the one-shots will be massive as he gets tagged down to 17. He's not worried about Pop Dog because he has coverage toward that position. Tries to favor off toward Ivy instead, but Android closes it out. And Complexity go 2-0 against Team 1. Unfortunately, they bow out of the event now.
For a team that I didn't know much about, watching that, you could say they're around Complexity's level. If that lacking a little bit, like, I mean, they're...
I think Complexity made things easy in certain situations by getting... I mean, especially on Nuke, they were really overconfident in some of their rotations. But I think that the tools, the foundation could be there for Team One with a bit more time. Again,
Premier level, for
post execution, they've got the idea on how to get into a site, how do
Yep.
they set up a post plant, how do they make better use of the utility to be more efficient in their trades. And obviously, I think Maluk is exciting, but needs to just tighten up a little bit. And if he
Yeah.
hits some of those shots, especially on Nuke, where he was getting caught out in lobby and being a little bit too audacious,
Yeah.
then they could be beneficial for them as well. But they've got something to work on, especially coming out of the South American region without such practice that guys like Luminosity, Immortals, and SK get by being in North America. So again, more promise in that region, and I think that there is more depth down there than we realize.
Even that one time going down ladder. How often do you see an Opera just jump down ladder and try to beat that CT there? It's
I mean, again, he's
it's
playing
crazy.
it. He's playing it like Guardian and Kenny, but those guys
Yep.
are just exceptional at hitting those shots.
Well, I mean, we're going to run some replays there, but you can see that there, as you mentioned, there's a base, there's potential there for
Yeah.
Team 1. Unfortunately, they are going to be eliminated. Complexity will go on to play the loser, I believe, of the next...
You make it sound so
no,
harsh.
they're going to go play Energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the decider.
It's not the loser.
Yeah.
Well, one of them will be a loser.
Okay, you're still
that
sounding
still too
harsh.
far? I'm
nah,
sorry.
it's fine. It's true. I mean, factually speaking.
Factually speaking.
Liquid already through, obviously.
They are.
They played the decider against Energy, who
Yes.
won the game this morning against Complexity. So I think that's a direct rematch.
And a BO3 setting.
Yep.
So that
That'll
should
be
make for an
interesting.
interesting little dynamic there.
Yep. Energy's an interesting team as well because obviously Daps coaching them brings a lot of experience in that sense. I always said Daps was cut out for a solid coaching role. No offense to his playstyle, that wasn't meant to sound that way.
But no, he's finding his own now. Like a third pair of eyes looking at that, especially one that's very critical and knows the structure and how he wants to run the team. I think it fits it perfectly. So that's all for me. But coming up,
that is all
you're
for
going
you.
to team up with Blue. A little high five, a tag in.
I don't want to know what this is. That seems
tell you
rather...
off camera.
Let's go to a break.
Yeah, we're going to break this, yeah.